Mid to late 2018 was probably the most difficult time for me on this journey. And that's saying a lot, given that the year before I'd spent 2 months bedbound. I'd had insomnia, sleeping 2 to 3 hours a night, and went through a week where I slept 1 hour a night. My body was wired the rest of the time. It was horrifically scary. And I had anxiety through the roof. I'd never had anxiety before. I thought my body was literally shutting down and I was dying. I thought that was my fate. 2018 was so hard because I'd built up a bit, but I was still struggling, and at that time my relationship had fallen apart, my engagement ended. I think that was the last thing I sort of felt I had to hang on to. I'd lost so much by that stage, like I'd already lost my job, my health, my finances, my state of mind. But at that point, it was probably my lowest. I just felt so alone, so excruciatingly alone. And I was pretty much housebound at that point. I couldn't look at screens, I couldn't read anything, so it was pretty much me and my mind for the whole day. One night in particular, it was September, I was sitting there on my own, home alone, on the couch, not able to do anything. But I had this with me. I had my little pocket Bible with me. And I was in such a state of despair, I was just overwhelmed, and I just thought, why is this happening to me? What is happening? How could this have all been going on? How's my life come to this point? And I opened it up, and I opened it to this page here, where it says, Psalm 116 verse 7, "Return, O my soul, to your rest, for the Lord has dealt bountifully with you." And it was just, at that point, that verse just struck me so strongly. And it just penetrated my heart so deeply. It was just overwhelming. And this change of perspective just came, and this comfort just came straight in, and this peace and tears just started just rolling from my eyes, and my perspective changed. I just started thanking him that I'm saved, that he's in my life, that he's given me hope, that no matter what happens to me, that everything is going to be okay in the end, whether it be in this life or the next. And I realised that I wasn't alone. It wasn't just me and my mind. It was Holy Spirit as well, who'd been there all along. I'd have this journal. I always write in a journal each year of a different one. And I'd never written poetry or anything like that, but some words just flowed to me, and this is what came. And this just struck me, because how could this have happened in the midst of what I was going through? This is so ridiculous that I wrote this. This was the thing that I wrote. This is what came to me. "I dig into the master's field and pull out many treasures. I bury deep my every sin and cast down many pleasures. I reach down in the deep blue sea and find a precious pearl, leaving all the former things that make man's soul a hell. Living waters I can't contain, bursting forth like summer rain. No more longing answers found in that deep sea and that field's ground. Living waters thirst no more. I've found the well that men search for. Soul at rest, what peace I've found in that deep sea and that field's ground." And for me, that was a pivotal moment in my Christian walk, a defining moment. From that time on, a great awakening started to take place in me, and the strength of God became so strong and so real in a time that was excruciatingly painful in the months ahead and beyond. The revelation of who God is slowly began to increase in me day by day, and I entered into a place in my faith where I've never been before. All of a sudden, in the midst of the most difficult circumstances, I can't even explain how challenging mentally, physically, I couldn't do anything, I couldn't go anywhere, I couldn't look at anything. The peace of God just increased in me. I began calling to him more and more, and I began to get a greater revelation of who he was and who he is, and the revelation of who he is became so much greater than what was going on around me in my circumstances. And in such a real way, this just began to increase and increase and increase, and despite the circumstances remaining so difficult, my spiritual state of being just was transformed. And especially over the last 12 months, and then 9 months, and then 6 months, it's just continued to grow. I'm at peace. I've never experienced this in my life before, and I'd never had more difficult circumstances in my life. Thankfully, He's been healing my body as well and recovering me. But God doesn't just make these things possible. He promises these things. His words aren't just suggestions, they're promises. And we can live in this place. This place is possible. It's amazing. It's such a blessing. I'm so full of peace and joy and love at the deepest levels too, not just an emotion, at the deepest levels. Even at the times when I have felt down, on those rare times, I've still felt that within me, that joy which can't be touched. And I'm so encouraged by it. I feel so alive. I feel so passionate in my walk, and I just want to tell people. I just want to love people. I just want to minister to the needs of people and just shine God's light through me. I just pray that's an encouragement to you, given everything that I've gone through. And I pray that also shows you that this is possible for you also. When we bring our difficulties to Him, He is faithful. He is enough to fill us with His peace, to fill us with His joy, to fill us with His strength. That's what His word says, and I believe His word over what my circumstances say, over what my mind says, and over what you say. I believe His word. That's what He said, and that's good enough. And I'm so excited about this, that this is what I want to share so much more on. I want to talk so much more on walking in faith, in walking in the peace of the Spirit, the joy of the Lord, and in love, and being in a place where circumstances have to bow down. And if God can do this in me, given what I've gone through and through what I've gone through, God can do it in you also. It's a fact. There's no doubt about that. And that's why in these videos I really want to come alongside you and show you exactly how God worked in me during this time, and how this led to the transformation that He's done in me. I'm so encouraged to share this with you. I'm so excited to share this with you. And this is possible, but we have to truly trust in Him. And I'm not talking about an emotion or a feeling. I'm talking about a decision of the will inspired by the Holy Spirit. And I'm talking about making a commitment and prioritizing the Lord and calling out to Him earnestly and closing ourselves off from the distractions of the world and opening ourselves to Him, making ourselves receptive to be able to hear from Him and for Him to be able to work in our hearts. I wish I could show you what was going on inside of me. I'm not making this up. I would just wake up and experience a joy in my day that I can't explain. It doesn't make sense. I even tell God, this is ridiculous. This is actually ridiculous. This makes no sense. But it's amazing. But it's so good. It's so good. And yeah, there have been some difficult times that have come, as I've said. But dealing with them has been completely different, and going through them has been completely different. Because the focus is never about overcoming circumstances. The focus is on knowing Him more and becoming more like Christ, and trusting Him more in the circumstances. And you'll see His faithful deliverance, like I have. If you like this video, give it the thumbs up below. Be sure to hit the subscribe button so you don't miss out on any new videos. Feel free to leave any comments or questions below, and don't forget to share with your friends.